One thing I will say to all the Zoominfo people is I really believe you're selling on the wrong sales when you're out there talking to us. I honestly, when you say you have 500 million contacts or whatever it is you say, everyone says that.
Again, there's a mismatch in terms of expectation versus reality. Expectation was 8 or 9 out of 10 in 80 or 90% data accuracy, whilst the reality was a...
Welcome back, Sales Moguls, to another installment. We might have the heavyweight champion of all lead enrichment sales intelligence tools. In today, we have Zoominfo. I've actually trialed this one twice or 3 times now. They've been around for over 20 years. They are seen as the benchmark and the premier lead enrichment sales intelligence tool, potentially business intelligence tool as well. And it's been a cracker over a week, reusing them again, getting stuck into it. I even found out more likes about it than when I first looked at them as well. Abby, what about you?
Yeah, Zoominfo has been sort of in my life. That's an traumatizing, but it's been sort of in and out of my sales career for like 10 years now, because it just never dies, and it's just always sort of thriving and coming up with new features, new types of things. So we're super excited. I'm really excited to review Zoominfo.
Yeah, they're always building. Let's be clear, we're reviewing the Zoominfo sales iOS tool. There is, I believe it's 6 solutions that they're offering now, which they're always building on. And they're always acquiring new companies to get their intelligence up as well. So there's always add-ons and different features that they're having to their product. I feel like they're slowly becoming the all-in encompassing lead enrichment, sales intelligence, let's just say business intelligence tool, because what they're offering now, from what they started in humble beginnings, let's say, to where they are now, and the amount of growth they've had in terms of their product is very mind-blowing for this industry. Because it's almost like they think up an idea, or you think up an idea, and then they act on that. What do you think, Abby?
Yeah, exactly. And they're ambitious, they're bold. They've always managed to keep their head sort of above competition, and they've managed to keep that on consistently. So we've got a fair share of experiences with the tool, and we would love to share sort of our latest experience working with the team, working with the tool, and
They've definitely grown on me, I would say. For me, Zoominfo has done nothing but grow on me. So I'm more excited now to present them. I'm glad it wasn't, maybe a month or 2 ago.
Just as you said, they've grown on you. Unfortunately, Zoominfo for me has had sort of the negative or the opposite effect. When I first spoke to Zoominfo back in the day, they were a publicly listed company. Now, of course, they're a listed company, or I think it's the New York Stock Exchange. I kind of, unfortunately, when I spoke to the sales rep, I got the vibe of, hey, we're here, we're number one. We know we're number one. And whether you like it or not, we're going to be number one. And whether you buy us or not, we're going to be still sort of leaders. Again, being in Asia seems to be sort of disadvantaged. I don't know what's different, but at least in my case, the sales rep that I interacted with was not as keen, not as eager to get my business. And I felt like that's not ideal. In my case, at least, it was kind of like a take it or leave it kind of an attitude, which I didn't thoroughly enjoy.
So what would you rate the process for you out of 10 going through this?
For me, it's a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10, shots fired. For me, I found them very professional, very hands-on. I'm actually trying to get more to the point now. My producer told me that I rambled too much. It was structured, it was rigid, the process. You knew what the next steps were. It definitely wasn't their first rodeo. Very impressive, strong negotiation skills. Really, listening to what I was saying and really analyzing the situation to realize, okay, maybe they're not in position to buy right now. Let's get them using it again, or let's get them, re-excited with the value propositions. And obviously, sometimes when you start using these lead enrichment tools or sales intelligence tools, you don't really get to use them that well at the start because there's so many features. And on top of that, maybe the way you use these features changes over time as well. So That's why I would say do your due diligence with this. But the sales process, I give them an 8 out of 10. Getting up and running for the trials, very easy. They did their own, they did like a kickoff call, which was super great for the team. They get you understanding the product. They want you to list out, what your ideal product type is, how you'll use it. I actually was impressed with a little bit of the research they did as well before the calls. They actually, I asked them some certain questions they could handle it for me. Or if their system could filter out these types of customers. And they actually did the research and, found a good solution around that. So very happy with getting started. I give it an 8 out of 10. Abby?
The platform was quite intuitive and it was easy for me to self-start. There was no real support from the rep for my trial. And I felt like I was on borrowed time rather than on time that I'm supposed to be using to acclimatize myself to the platform. And hence I would give it a 6 out of 10.
That's really interesting you say that. I mean, it's unfortunate for you and for all the listeners out there. If you've had this experience, positive or negative, please comment below or send us an email. We've had actually a couple of interesting emails come through already. And it's really cool to open up dialogue and be able to discuss people's experiences, because it could be depending on the market. It could be an Abby thing, you never know.
Fair enough. Yeah, I know. It seems like a passion so far.
I would rate it as an 8 out of 10. In comparison to the others, again, we're going to try to compare it not to what perfection is, but to each other. I think that's the best way to do it, because you're never going to get it perfect. Compared to the others and compared to kind of the expectations, we find a middle ground there. We're going to give that an 8 out of 10.
So for me, when I was using the Sales OS, again, there was a mismatch in terms of expectation versus reality. Expectation was 8 or 9 out of 10 in 80 or 90% data accuracy, whilst the reality was unfortunate, was 60 or 60% of data was accurate. And hence I would give it a 6 out of 10. It's quite straightforward for me when I'm not able to verify data points. It's an easy score to give.
And it could be based on the market as well. Remember, I'm in the Nordics market or Europe, I should say. And Abby, you're in APAC, in the Asian region, or Southeast Asian, I should say.
That's true. And it's true. The market does make a difference. We want to add that caveat in for sure.
But that's an interesting thing that you're bringing up here, because Cognism, you gave 8 out of 10. And Zoominfo, you give 6 out of 10. And that's based on the APAC region.
That's also based on expectation management, because Cognism said they could give me only 60% accuracy, and they delivered. So they manage my expectations really well. In
Europe, I get 100%, 100%, 100%, 110%. They're overfilling the glass of water. And it's kind of interesting. APAC, they're like, listen, I only think we can give you 60%. And I like that, to be honest. I really like that. It's very transparent.
Exactly. And if you like that, imagine how much I like it. I like it a lot more being in Asia, where it's harder to get data points. So I love that. And that's why Cognism got a far higher score than Zoominfo. Zoominfo, unfortunately, the guy that I was speaking with did not manage my expectations well. Yeah, sure. For me, actually, contrary to data accuracy and all the other things that we've spoken about previously, Zoominfo ranks really high, and I love how intuitive their platform was. It was super easy to use. I'm a big fan of the black and white sort of Uber. I know I'm reminiscing, but I love the sort of Uber-like interface, and it's really clean and it's really non-cluttered and super easy to use. And not just me. I think that you don't need to have a big background like in sales or a big background using these platforms. You can pick it up quite easily, and hence I'd give it a good 8 out of 10. I'm
going to say, I remember you texting me throughout. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 as well. Easy to figure out and how to use and build the lists with. Obviously, Abby, you're more tech savvy than I am. So for all those non-tech savvy people, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Unique selling points for me. Number one-stop shop for all sales intelligence and business intelligence. You're going to have everything you need in one place. So if you're scaling your business, building your business, you need to utilize data for, meetings, investor meetings, for exploratory meetings into different markets. This is where you're going to get that from as well, all in the same place. Number two, using your ICP, you can actually find similar businesses. So I really utilize this the most, the last trial I just did with them. So what I mean by that is by having your ideal customer profile. Let's say you know 10 and you're like, I don't know, I can't find similar businesses. Google's not helping me, or Google's giving me similar businesses that aren't as similar as that should be. You put in your company, it actually gives you a list of up to 10 to 15 different businesses that are similar to that. So Zoominfo does that job for you, and I absolutely love it. None of them do it. Well, from what I've seen, none of them else can do it. So that is a super unique selling point. I think it's one of their best. And
wow, yeah,
they don't sell it as much as they should.
I want to interject here. It's really interesting you made that point. I missed this feature, so I haven't seen this feature. So maybe I wasn't exploring it well enough, right? But this is a really cool feature. I actually manually do this step outside of Zoominfo. I go to SimilarWeb and I put in the website of my target prospect, and I find similar businesses to target.
Really, it's like it's something that doesn't come to until you realize, oh wait, what's my ICP again? Or who am I looking for in this market? Who am I looking for there? It's a crazy thing, and I love it. I absolutely love it. They have the intent search. I wouldn't say it's the most unique, but it is a unique. So that's number 3, intent search. And number 4 is, I mentioned it earlier, it's a great basis for building your sales process and sales team, and for putting you in the right place to scale. It's got a lot of different, introductory courses that let you get straight into it, and the different modules actually make a difference depending where your business is, which I like about that, which makes them unique. Because in other modules, it's just about how many credits you get. Maybe there's 2 differences. One is you get the intent search and not. With this, you really get different add-ons with everything. So I'm really impressed with the way they set up the modules, and their unique selling points are out there. One thing I will say to all the Zoominfo people is I really believe, and this is a golden nugget to anyone listening out there from Zoominfo, I really believe you're selling on the wrong, you're really pushing on the wrong sales when you're out there talking to us. I honestly, when you say you have 500 million contacts or whatever it is you say, everyone says that. I really think you should be pushing on what makes you unique, and that is the fact that you have everything there. You have the ICP in terms of similar businesses. I really think you should push more on these things than just having the most contacts.
I think, firstly, thanks for highlighting that really cool feature about Zoominfo and that competitive search. I think that's a really cool, huge USP that none of the other platforms have. So I'm going to double agree on that and double down on that as a USP. I love the fact that Zoominfo has all of these things combined in a single OS. And you can see how we're already calling it OS. So they've done such a good job marketing it. So the Sales OS, which is the tool that we are reviewing, but what makes it stand out is these additional layers. You've got Marketing OS and you've got Talent OS. Marketing OS is kind of something like what other platforms are doing already, right? They're talking about display ads, they're talking about integration, sending out emails. It's called Zoom Engage. That's something that's sort of up and coming. But you have this new layer, which is basically Talent OS, which is Advanced Candidate Search. So when you start combining all of these different layers and you bundle that into a whole sort of holistic enterprise solution, that makes it stand out.
Yeah.
But Zoom Sales OS on its own is not going to give it much of a moat, in my opinion. And in conclusion, basically, my USP would be that it's great. It stands out as a bundle solution, but individually, it's good. But I'm not sure if it's the best. I guess you'll have to watch till the end of this episode to find out. Well, I hope you guys liked the video. We put in a lot of work, and thanks a lot, as always, for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We love the support. We love the acknowledgement. And if you want us to put up more videos or different tools that you think you might find useful or you can benefit from, send them over to us. Send us an email. Put your comments in the comment section, and let us know what we can do next and help us improve. Thanks again for watching, and see you again at Sales Moghuls.
I'm going to get cut to the chase, as Joe Hollywood says. Like most of the heavyweights, it's very dependent on competition. Cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to put ourselves in the shoes of some of our listeners. So again, if you don't know your exact ICP, it's a really great way for you to then find out the similar companies as well.
There are some challenges out there in the market that are catching up fast. This technology is not proprietary.
You've got to keep in mind as well, in that year or 2 years, they're going to build a massive lead list that other reps can use. You have to keep in mind that your first 12 months is going to be the most intense